Good morning. Thank you for joining us. It's a dangerous world out there, and as much as we prefer in this segment to focus on domestic and local issues, we certainly cannot ignore the very real foreign policy problems that affect us all. So we're pleased to have with us this morning the opportunity to talk with 8th District Congressman Stephen Lynch, fresh off the plane from an overseas fact-finding mission that included discussions with the leadership of Ukraine, where a crucial presidential election is being held today. Congressman, welcome.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you back on American soil. I saw you quoted during your trip as saying that you believe Russian President Vladimir Putin is out to create, quote, a new world order, and that European security is potentially at stake here. Are we doing enough to address what you make it sound like a dire situation?
Well, it's a difficult situation. I think we are doing everything that we can do. Obviously, I think the president is constrained right now because we've got to let Germany and other European nations take the lead. But I think up to this point, we're doing everything we can.
Well, Secretary of State Kerry, along with the British Foreign Secretary, said the other day that they'll impose much harsher sanctions on Russia if they meddle with today's election. Have the sanctions we've done to date been strong enough in your view or not?
Not quite. I don't think we've got the response generally from Putin and others that we would desire. I think there's still things that they could do in terms of controlling some of those Russian separatists that have overtaken some of the public buildings in eastern Ukraine. I think there's a clear connection between some of these units. We got reports that some of the abductions that were carried out recently against some of the peacekeepers there on the Ukrainian side were conducted actually by Russian forces, Russian professional military personnel. So we think that Putin can do much more than he has done up to this point.
Well, getting him to move is obviously going to require pressure. With regard to both Ukraine and our dealing with the mess in Syria, we have this deal with Iran that is yet to be proven effective. The Middle East is kind of a mess as usual. Has Secretary of State Kerry been a strong, clear manager of our foreign policy?
I think he has. I think he's... Look, Syria is a terribly complicated situation. You've got al-Qaeda on one side, Hezbollah on the other. Trying to find a good guy in that mix and try to find a way in and intervene is a very difficult situation. I think he's done a very good job at trying to get the parties together in the Middle East, especially with respect to the Israeli-Palestinian situation. That again has been a focus of the administration's concern for some time now, but I think we're at a point where we have to let the Israelis and the Palestinians work this out.
Well, any Secretary of State is constrained by the policy direction that's set in the White House.
Right.
And it does appear to me, I'm far from an expert on this, but I'd really like your feedback on it, Congressman, that there's clearly been periods of friction there, where Kerry was all gung-ho to react to when the Syrians used their chemical weapons, the White House less so. At the Yale commencement the other day, and perhaps also at BC, Secretary Kerry was talking about the need for us to not be isolationist. At times, it seems there's that tendency in the White House. What's going on?
Well, I think they're reacting to the situation on the ground. I think that as situation changes, their policy has tried to adjust to the situation on the ground. So as you said at the outset, it's a dangerous world out there, and I think that the administration is trying to respond to those changes as we move forward.
Are they too reactionary rather than having a more clear set of principles?
I suppose it would be easy to second guess that they've been sometimes inconsistent, but I would be hard-pressed to find a move that they've made that was not justified in some respects.
All right, we'll take a short break, sir. Thank you for being here, and we'll continue our conversation with 8th District Congressman Stephen Lynch in a moment. Please stay with us.